Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's matchup in the Dragon Warrior Randomizer Summit. We have a quad for you today, and it should be a very interesting match. DiabeetusThe2nd versus ScarletShadoww, and ratlifTheRat versus DrMisterHomes. I am Aaron T2. With me on the comms tonight is our defending champion, Tilo. Say hi.
Hi, everybody.
So we are in for a great one. If you glance at the records, all of these players have done extremely well in their respective areas. The Ghost group up there between DiabeetusThe2nd and ScarletShadoww, the winner of this could be in pole position to win the group. Whereas down in the Red Slime Conspiracy, we have ratlifTheRat and DrMisterHomes. Both are fighting for playoff contention at this point to get into the brackets. There is somebody who's already finished at 5-1. And so a loss here will basically mean they'd have to win out the rest of the way to qualify. And we are underway. Getting those instructions from the king, and it looks like we have a set of wings, so we might see a teleport right out of the treasure room and get to save those keys. The herb could be useful, maybe not so much. And then just starting stats, a few red spots, and outside. We'll see if anyone casts it.
No outside casts.
Nope, we missed on the outside, but that's fine. We'll see. It looks like a few of our players went straight back in. Ratlif going straight out into the world. Gonna try to get some experience. That key's not going anywhere, so he can always save it, after he deals with his Armor Knight, or the Armor Knight deals with him.
Yeah, that tends to be my strategy, is to go out and wander off as much as you can to see what's out there, and then you can know you'll end up back. It's a nice quick trip to the throne room anyway, plus a little bit of extra information.
Right, and it looks like the throne room is probably not going to be saved. Two chests of gold, one torch, one fairy water. If it's really difficult to get experience, we might see somebody dip that for the fairy water and the torch to kill some things, but we just haven't seen enough of the beginning zone yet.
Yeah, fairy water and a torch is sufficient to get you to can be sufficient to get you to level 3. Fairy water being able to take out a scorpion, and a torch being able to take out, a Drakey or a ghost. So enough to propel you if necessary. And there's that scorpion on ScarletShadoww's side, and the ghost on Ratlif's.
We do see a basement check from Homes and Diabeetus, and it looks to be Swamp North. Unfortunately, if it was Swamp South, it would be perfect since you started with outside, but looks like they're going to try to walk it.
And the red slimes have the baby breath, which, while not really a big issue, makes it a little more challenging when you have to get through multiple attacks do multiple attacks to them to kill them.
So, very interesting find there from Holmes. He manages to see a metal slime, which has Hurtmore, and metal slime would be perfect with his strength. Unfortunately, Hurtmore is not. Diabeetus made it through, but ran into a werewolf. And now he's doing the reset too.
And as mentioned by Brian Williams in chat, one of the race rooms is Grumpy Slime, and I thought at first they were referring to me on comms, but turns out that these the slimes in the seed are also pretty grumpy.
So it looks like we're in a bit of a race to see who can get to level 2 first. ScarletShadoww, who's probably been the most aggressive grinding so far, has got 4 experience in, but it seems like right now it's, I don't know, you're just hoping to get the red slime down before he decides to use that weak breath.
Did we see anything interesting from the ghost?
I did not. I actually didn't even see the ghost.
There was a ghost on Ratlif's screen earlier, but I went elsewhere, and he still has 0 experience, so I'm wondering if he got sent home, or if he ran away. I don't know.
And there just seems to be a bit of heavy exploration on some ends here. We're seeing a lot of enemies that are not in zone 0, so it looks like people are trying to find a way out of the starting zone. Maybe they find a town that, because there were 2 gold chests, you could get 1,000 gold worth of something right off the bat, and that could definitely help the situation. But it looks like ScarletShadoww is hitting level 2. And that level 2 was pretty big. The stats, I think that was, what, 2.5, 2.3, but we got something more valuable than that, I think. And then we saw that hurt spell is basically breaking you out of level 1 jail, even though we already were level 2, but you know what I mean? And then hurt more at level 3.
All right. That'll break you out.
So right now it's a race for everyone else to gain some experience, because you're not going to find anything more useful than what ScarletShadoww got at level 3.
And it looks like that is the grave up there in that northeast corner. Diabeetus trying to head towards those top 3 chests right now. But that rogue scorpion has other ideas.
Yeah, ScarletShadoww did manage to land a Hurtmore and a Star Wyvern. However, it had sleep and kind of took care of him right after that. So now when you get Hurtmore at this sort of level, the real thing is, can I get to something that will make me feel like I'm using this effectively? And the correct answer is usually no. You just want to get hit points and agility and stats so that you don't get massacred by all of the mid-game enemies that you really want to hurt more.
So Ratlif has taken out a Scorpion with the Fairy Water and some chip damage. Is going to be able to get up to level 2, where he's going to get his Hurt spell. And so manages to hold onto the torch by doing that. He's going to heal. Actually, he's going to probably heal himself, and then throw a torch at a ghost or a red slime, get himself to level 3, have that hurt more, and be off to the races as well.
Not a bad strategy. Would not be surprised if we see Diabeetus possibly do that too, since he has gained 0 experience so far, and it just seemed to be struggling to get anything going right now.
What you might see Ratlif do is go recharge his MP, go save the game, because he did get the money out of the treasury. He burned his key to get the torch and the fairy water and the money, and now that he has hurt more, he might be more apt to go explore out the world and see if there's something he can use that money for.
Yeah, you called it. He's going back in and you can see the torch on the red slime. That's unusual, but it makes sense in the context. Diabeetus, however, back into grave. And, a metal slime. He's going to be slightly excited. Nope, he reset. He knew exactly what was up.
And meanwhile, we do have the Wombo combo on Star Wyverns, and so that will add to the fun of the seed. That could become an issue even all the way down into Sharlock.
Yeah, and ScarletShadoww tried again, and unfortunately got slept, but he does get waken up before before that Star Wyvern can get him, and that's 105 experience. That's a good 50% increase over where he was, so you love to see that.
And Ratlif finds a town, but is blocked by that Armored Knight. I'm assuming we're just about to see a reset here, and no reset. Maybe he didn't save, but I imagine he'll be heading right back towards that town.
Yeah, at this point, since you've already used your key, you got to be thinking a lot about those towns to get the key back. You never know when you're going to get to a point where that's going to hurt you significantly. Meanwhile, ScarletShadoww has jumped out to a giant experience lead now, as which you might expect with Hurtmore, up to level 6 and now level 7. The stats: 12, 2, 6, and 2. Sleep and return. Almost every spell at level 7. I think he's just missing heal. And meanwhile, Holmes picks up his level 2, so he gets a bit of a reprieve, and will probably get to 3 before too long.
And we also saw on Diabeetus' side that he has gotten fed up with the endless attempt at grinding, burned his key to go get... look at that, the ghosts have healed more. He burned his key to go open those chests, then of course lost his torch on the ghost right there, so he's going to reset to get it back.
Not a good feeling. That is terrible luck. Mineral on... so many things have to happen. You have to mineral on the torch. The ghost has to max roll HP, although it only has a range of 2. And then you still have to see the hurt more. He missed another attack. So that was just a bunch of bad stuff happening all at once.
And now, just to make it worse, he's being blocked by the NPCs.
That's nice of him to move, but he moved in the slowest possible direction. So great. There might be some choice words going on over there. That cannot be pleasant. But yeah, he's picked up 18 experience. Now he has got his hurt more, and everyone has escaped from at least the helplessness of the beginning. Looks like the town that we were looking for down there was Breckenary. I think Holmes is there now, resting at the end. We'll see if there's anything interesting in the shop.
And Holmes opts not to buy the bamboo pole. I'm sad and disappointed. You'd think a veteran runner would understand the importance of owning that bamboo pole, especially when he has hurt more. That is how you win seeds, and I'm just disappointed.
So that was not the town we had seen before. Ratliff did make it there. It is Cole, so we're going to get a check of the Vanilla Fairy location, Fairy Fruit location, and it is nothing. So we are down one search spot.
Ratliff started to go with the hand axe, realized I have hurt more, and so armor is probably a better thing for me, and opts to get the half plate instead, holding off hope. I don't know, maybe if I were in his shoes, I'd probably go outside, try to see if I get something I can throw a hurt more at to get me back up to that hand axe thing, because having that swinging is valuable, but obviously with hurt more, attack power, especially in attack power this low, it's not really that substantial of a difference at the moment.
And it looks like that might be what he's doing. He's not being too aggressive with the exploration. Druid Lords in this area are very good for that Hurt More spell. Did see Holmes, unfortunately, outside of Breckenary, got taken out by another AK-47, our good friend, the Armor Knight, who I believe we saw earlier had heal, which may or may not matter. I don't know if that's super bad or not. It could be annoying late if they're on a grind tile or perhaps the in-game spike. And Ratliff's starting to catch up a little bit here on experience. Holmes is still a little ways behind. I think he got to Hurtmore just shortly after Ratliff did. But I think he's been a little bit heavier on the exploration, not just finding good enemies to use it on.
And meanwhile, we have ScarletShadoww going up into Grave, so we're finally getting to see those top 3 chests. Getting a nice 95 experience in the process, killing that werewolf. We got the Fighter's Ring, the Fairy Flute, and what I assume would be an herb, since I don't think we have maxed out keys at this point in time.
Actually, I think he did, but I mean, I guess it's a guess either way. Because he went through, I think, yeah, he went when he last went through Swamp, he topped off again, so.
Okay, according to chat, Scarlet maxed keys, but not herbs, so that was likely a key, which will be nice for Ratliff and Diabeetus, who lost their key. By opening up the treasury, they will be getting it refunded there in the top of the grave.
Right. If Diabeetus manages to make it there, that will be really, really important for him because of what you just said. We know that both him and Ratliff have lost their starting key, but it probably isn't too much of an emergency. Sometimes it really matters, sometimes it doesn't. I'd say more often than not, it doesn't.
Yeah, I think trying to hold on to that key can sometimes be more trouble than it's worth in certain things. If there's anything behind that treasury that can help you get off the ground, that's usually a better idea. Obviously, your mileage may vary from seed to seed, but I think dropping the key for utility items is an underutilized strategy.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of deaths on the screen, and not the sort of deaths that you kind of expect with early Hurtmore, where, okay, I'm going to throw all my spells out and then die somewhere. You know, that's kind of expected. But we're seeing like some red dragons in the overworld that has been unpleasant. AK-47s, which have DL2, the Star Wyverns with the full Wombo combo. It's been like, this isn't boding super fun for that Sharlock dive later in the game. Whoa, and Ratliff getting away from a red dragon. That's our first red dragon run of the day. I feel like that should be sponsored by someone. Yeah, it does look like Holmes has been settling in, not exactly to some sort of dedicated grind, but he's been doing it a little bit more. Now that he has some money, he's getting more than the one key that he had. And we'll probably see if he can get to the spike. We know Swamp has a very interesting set of enemies. I think I saw a slime down there. He's already been down there once. I think there's a red dragon as well.
Yeah, we're seeing that on ScarletShadoww's side as well. He is in the mountain cave. Managed to get away from a red dragon there after getting the Stones of Sunlight from the top of it. And so we'll see if he can get through to the bottom, and if that zone is any nicer. We do know that shares with Grave 1. I don't remember what we saw in Grave 1 other than a werewolf off the top of my head, but there might be something nasty down here. Oh, the Rogue Scorpion, right? That's what sent Diabetes home originally on his first trip.
Yeah, that's closer to an enemy that you actually really want to see, because they're pretty easy to nuke, but they do have pretty high agility. And also the harp down here is that we found a whole slew of our key items already.
Yeah, we've already got the flute down, the harp, the stones. That leaves us 4 potential key items to be on, well, I guess 2 potential search spots, right? Because we already saw Cole being a Zonk.
I like that fairy water used from ScarletShadoww. Werewolves, even if he had the strength for them, they love to dodge that last hit after the hurt more. Never take a chance on them.
Yeah, it's a really heads-up play. People don't realize it. They think so much about the Demon Knights being super dodgy, but the werewolves are very close. The demons are basically at 1 out of 4 dodge, and the werewolves are 1 out of 8 dodge, which are substantially higher than any other monster in the game. So if you have a chance to throw something and it's a guaranteed hit, whether that be a hurt or a fairy water to clean up the damage after the hurt more, it's usually a very good idea. Unfortunately, ScarletShadoww got knocked out by that werewolf on top of the final chest in Mountain, so we do not know what it is, and I don't know if he's going to go back anytime soon to find out.
I did not notice myself, Beta. I think, well, I guess we're probably looking at the exact same stream. So, but otherwise, it looks like I'm kind of trying to figure out where Ratliff is gone, because I've been seeing a lot of he's been just kind of getting beat up as he's been exploring, or what. Mr. Holmes is out exploring as well, which Axe Knight is a perfect enemy to see right now. Maybe not perfect. You're still a little bit low on hit points. It'd take a Magic Wyvern over that, but you're still not sad to see it.
Yeah, if you can find, beyond that, if you can find a desert with Axe Knights, that just bodes well for later on in this seed as well, even if you're having a little trouble getting through it at this very moment. But that Axe Knight is going to take Holmes up to level 8.
Meanwhile, it does look like Diabetes has found his grind. These green dragons down here, if he can manage to get them, they're a fairly reliable kill, and it's only going to get more and more reliable as time goes on.
Yeah, and with the swamp being in the underneath the castle, it's really super convenient, especially early on when you're going to be... Oh, hold on. I thought you do have the green dragons having heal more, and so that makes the battles can be a little trickier. You still probably just want to lead off with the hurt more since you get one shot, but if they throw the heal more out there, that's another 7 MP you got to lose by throwing the hurt more out. But having said that, again, when you run out of resources, you die, you go back to the castle, it takes you 2 seconds to get back here, or maybe like 30, but it's a simple enough way, and you can take that to grind for quite a while.
Well, it was enough that it made Diabetes just nope out of that, at least for now. He might be trying to see if he can find something beyond here. I can't remember if this was where one of the towns was or not. Oh, there is. There we go.
And it is Hawksness. If you like grind tiles, boy, do we have a treat for you. And we see another hurt more monster.
Yes, abilities rolled very on in this seed. It seems like everything's got something.
But I think Diabetes has seen enough of that second continent and is going to head back and try to explore this area around again.
It seems to me right now that Ratliff and Mr. Holmes are kind of doing the same thing. I think Ratliff is just straight up grinding in this desert zone. It looks like Axe Knights and Werewolves, which I would take that right now. It's maybe not as reliable as Green Dragon, but at least with our knowledge, I think I would prefer it. And yeah, he's going right into the swamp. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, and under appreciated thing in a grind zone is a nearby swamp that you can send yourself home quickly on.
Yes, casting Yeet more into the swamp and just being done with it. Now Ratliff going into Grave. Again, he has lost his initial key, so if he's able to pick up one here, that's going to be huge just to compensate for that. Although we know that Grave isn't super safe.
And I don't know if we saw this before, but Diabetes just learned that the Armored Knights have DL2 breath. So that's going to make Sharlock interesting.
Yeah, I think we saw that one. Let's see if... I can't remember. Did we already see what Breckenary had shop-wise? Oh, that's right. It was the pole and a bunch of expensive stuff.
And ScarletShadoww lets me down by failing to purchase the pole as well.
So ScarletShadoww still has the experience lead of the 4 here. He's about doubled up on Diabetes, who just got run blocked and taken out by that wizard. But Ratliff and Mr. Holmes are still very even, and it seems like they're both kind of doing the same thing. I don't know if he was necessarily grinding over there, but kind of ran out of resources, and unfortunately the Star Wyvern is just an extremely lethal enemy in this seed. I think Ratliff wants to get sent back to do a gold grind, but gave up. I don't know. Has he seen a town where he can buy some stuff yet?
Yeah, I think he was the first person that got to coal.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go back in and get that key. He wants to save some time, and that makes sense, especially when you still have a decent amount of resources. So get a spare key. Maybe he'll even deep dive Grave while he's here, although he's resource-wise really dry, but he still might try it.
I mean, I certainly wouldn't blame him for grabbing another key in preparation to go dive down once he dies here. Or he may be trying to set up a death warp now again. He wanted to just get the key and extra key so that he could do the gold grind without losing the key.
All right, Diabetes finding coal, getting the fun news that somebody actually cleaned the pool today and there's nothing to find.
And it does look like Ratliff is actually going into deep grave now.
Maybe he figures, just wing it and see what happens. Holmes is just a few steps ahead of him. So, again, we have just an extremely close race between the two. That Fairy Flute coming in handy for Holmes. Getting rid of that Golem. Probably see a run here. I can't imagine he's going to try to fight this thing.
And the Golem's like, hold on. No, I'll get you before you can sleep me this time around.
ScarletShadoww has dipped back into Mountain. Looks like he's heading for that last chest. He might be trying for the gold grind as well. I believe he saw Breckenary with the silver shield, and when you see that, that kind of becomes a bit of a magnet.
And Ratliff finds in the 4th chest of grave is just the dragon scale, so... Oh my goodness gracious! The last chest in Mountain was the token, so all 3 key items, all necessary story items, are all sitting in the Mountain Cave.
It's a very important mountain today. I think ScarletShadoww really wanted that metal slime to kill him, just didn't work out. Here's another one, another chance.
There we go.
So it looks like Holmes did not make it through Grave, but Ratliff is still on his way out of HP, I think. Yeah, one more herb left. Just needs to run from everything. Doesn't really have the ability to take out anything. We are level 10, only 49 strength. We're still not able to do a whole lot physically.
And Holmes, who has seen Breckenary, is doing the gold grind even after dying in the grave. So he's going to be getting his silver shield. Ratliff finds that there's only gold in the bottom of the grave, so Holmes didn't miss a whole lot by not making the descent. And most likely, I would assume, unless we have something in Sharlock, you won't see him attempt another descent.
No, so we know. I think the most important thing that was in grave is the fighter's ring and then the key. So it wasn't super important. I mean, I guess the flute was there too, but I don't know. Your mileage may vary on that one. So everyone's doing the cash grind right now. Ratliff has to go buy the extra key to maintain keys first. Diabeetus, however, was in a cave and got taken out by a red dragon. I didn't see which one that was.
That was Mountain Cave.
Oh no, that actually have to be Swamp because all the doors are still open. So looks like Ratliff's going back down there. That's interesting.
So he must have gotten killed, knocked out of Mountain. He was in Mountain a little earlier, just a few moments ago. So that's why I assumed that was the one that had the Mountain Swamp spiked. So I don't know if he died out of there or if he, I don't know. It does look like he has the Stones of Sunlight, so he must have gotten that top chest.
And I think Ratliff's decided to take this opportunity to whoop on this green dragon a little bit. And we'll see if he... I don't know if the Princess Rescue would be in the cards yet. He could get her, but he'd have to walk all the way around to maintain the chest glitch, which is still active for him.
Yeah, I mean it's a good idea to go in if you don't know what's underneath the castle. I'm not sure if Ratliff checked that before losing his key or not. But you're already here. You had to go back there to grab the key. Let's go ahead and set up whatever we can down here. If it's a cave, we can go to it, or we can go grind it, and then we know whenever we die, we've still got that gold in the treasury to grind with. So definitely making that first trip down here and using up all your resources on this green dragon is a good play.
Yeah, especially if you were a little concerned about your stats and maybe trying to avoid the double death. Plus, he already had to come back for the key, so there's a sort of efficiency to it, too, that maybe isn't obvious on the onset. You already have to go all the way to the right. Might as well just go down here and check this and get sent back so you don't have to walk all the way back and, do two things at once, I guess.
And Holmes has to reset after taking a Dragon Lord 2 breath to the face by an Armored Knight on his way to Breckenary to purchase his new gear.
Yes, but thou must reset. It looks like ScarletShadoww gets stuck by Red Dragon, so we're seeing a reset over there too. And here we go, the big gold grind for Ratliff, getting all of this money. And so it's just a matter of being able to survive to a town. And I think they all have different towns in mind. I don't know. I think Holmes and Shadow have both seen Breckenary, but I don't think Ratliff has. Or wait, no, Ratliff has. I don't think ScarletShadoww has. I don't know.
The things I can say for sure are that ScarletShadoww and Holmes have been to Breckenary because I have expressed my disappointment with both of them for not purchasing the bamboo pole, which was for sale at Breckenary. Ratliff, I know, has found coal because he took his huge amount of money, got the half plate, was not quite able to buy the hand axe in the process. That is the extent to which I know. Whether or not the others have found the other towns, anybody else has found the other towns, I do not know off the top of my head.
Right, and I guess it makes sense too because we did not see the silver in Breckenary, or I mean in coal. So if you're getting full silver money, then you have to be going to Breck.
Yeah, in this world, you're certainly not going to blind grind stuff in case I happen to run into a town at some point.
Yeah, overall's been a little spicy, which has been good for Hurtmore, but also bad for survival. Looking at the death counters that we have on the screen, and I believe they are factoring in the resets, which we've seen extraordinarily heavy compared to most normal races so far. Now, Ratliff's going for everything, so almost everything. That's a weird dollar amount. And no save. I'm curious if
Clearing up his keys first, probably before saving, since he. Well, maybe. Okay, now I am perplexed as well.
So is he going to continue grinding and then...
No, he is going for a princess rescue. Since he's going to have to go to the throne room and save anyway, he's going to rescue the princess, bring her back to the throne room, then save all that at once.
This feels like it might be too smart. Like, maybe too thought out. I don't know. So we did see in Hawksness the spike tile check from Diabeetus, which was a golem, which is maybe the worst possible enemy you could see in this situation. Maybe red dragons are worse, but no strength to speak of. Not much you're going to be able to do against that thing except flute it and run.
I have routed this before, but it is definitely a very situational type of thing where it turns out to be the appropriate time save. Where I have had the gold grinding and the princess and used that to save, but it's in this particular circumstance, I don't know that it really necessarily saves you any time, but I guess if you were going to go back and buy that key again anyway, I don't know. Or maybe he had that thought in mind when he didn't quite grind up to the 32.5. He's like, well, I'll get some extra money on my attempt to rescue the princess.
Yeah, the big thing that makes this weird, and perhaps he just hasn't seen it, but there's red dragons in this zone. And he's walking around with 30-some thousand gold unsaved. That just feels really crazy to me.
Yeah, and now he's going to lose his outside. He could have done an outside return here, and now that's off the table because of the extra loss that just happened there. So we'll see what happens. Good luck, Ratlif.
Well, the good news is if he dies, the gold grind is still active, so he can just get the money back. But it's not exactly something you would brag about strategy-wise, I suppose. And there we go. So everything worked out. No worries. Meanwhile, we did see Mr. Holmes just a minute ago find Stone's Cave, which had an herb. Nothing particularly interesting there. Right now, we're only missing sword, armor, and necklace, which I think he has... No, he hasn't found anything yet because he hasn't found Mountain Cave, so he still pretty much needs everything. And ScarletShadoww finding Gurinham, which has 3 free items. We're going to get to see what they are right here if the NPCs let us.
At this point, what caves are we missing? Just the trade-ins and tablet?
Yeah, I don't think we've seen any of the trade-ins yet, which usually they tend to be kind of in the way. So, I mean, we'll see one here in just a moment.
That is tablet behind Gurinham.
Yay, tablet! It certainly will not be a waste of time, right?
Never.
You always get something interesting from it if you consider disappointment to be interesting.
I always enjoy the torch. That's my favorite item to find there.
Alright, he finds Erdrick's loose change, which isn't too bad. Maybe he'll stumble across something, some sort of armor to buy that's... Maybe he can save up for a full plate or something. And Mr. Holmes right behind him into Gurinham. He'll get the same exciting news here in just a moment. ScarletShadoww fighting the Stone Man. Sleep. Tried to cast Sleep, accidentally cast the wrong spell, then swung and then now is hurt-mooring it, and it is still alive. Yes, I think at this point Ratliff is kind of taunting us because we're all extremely worried about that money he's carrying. He's just outside grinding on Druid Lord. That's great.
And he buys the hand axe with all that rich, with those gigantic coffers.
True. He's still in a place where he can get everything just because of the refunds, assuming he buys everything in the correct order. Yeah, maybe he hasn't seen Brecken, or maybe he has no idea what he gold grinded for and is doing this all blind.
I mean, that is a gutsy play. I mean, there is something to be said for, hey, if you lose half your money here, you still have a silver shield possibility. So it's not all for naught. Maybe that was where the 30,000 came from. He wasn't actually expecting to buy stuff. He was just holding on to silver shield money post-death.
Maybe he was hoping if he wore all the money on the outside, the enemies would mistake him for a gold man and leave him alone.
Maybe that would have worked before 3.0, but now that Goldman was worth 650, everyone's going to swarm him.
So Holmes finding another town. Oh wait, that's still just Grinham. It's not just Grinham, but it's not anything exciting. Which, yeah, ScarletShadoww, I think that was just to the southeast, so he must have already been there too. Or wait, no, we already knew that. I'm just repeating myself at this point.
And Ratliff manages to get to level 12, which has very little to speak of except for an additional HP gain, which now allows him at full to be out of the Dragon Lord 2 breath range. So he can potentially take on an Armor Knight if he runs into it without dying.
And there is a town on the screen, but that's Cole, if I remember right. So it's not going to be super exciting for him, but he will be able to refresh his resources, which are going a little low.
However, ScarletShadoww finds Cantlin, so we're about to get a coordinates check to see if that preemptive rescue by Ratliff is going to turn out to have been a good idea.
Well, Diabeetus is doing perhaps the world's slowest golem fight ever, hitting for single digits on an enemy that can have up to 150 hit points. Forgive my inflection, I'm not meaning to say that this was bad, or, well, I guess it didn't work out. And there we go, coordinates 30 south, 81 west. I think Ratliff will feel pretty good about that once he finds Cantlin.
My question is, where is Cantlin with regards to everything else? Because there is decent odds that that could be near Cantlin.
Now, Ratliff finding Mountain, again, he is packing a ton of money, but this cave is so incredibly important that I don't think he's going to feel bad about this after he's done. I don't think he's going to feel bad about it anyway.
Manages to get through the top floor without seeing a red dragon, so continuing his police-free trip.
I actually didn't see the coordinates at all. I was just relying on our trackers, who I have the utmost faith in. And, you know, if you're Mr. Holmes, you're like level 10, you feel like you can do much of the stuff in the overworld, and you just get ambush wombo comboed by a Star Wyvern, and you just gotta kind of be like, well, we're still subject to whatever this game feels like doing to us.
Yeah, the good news is, of course, having spent all that money, that death is only a small inconvenience.
Ratliff getting through Mountain, no problems whatsoever. Gets all three things. Gets the outside, yeah, back on the prowl for some town that sells something above mid-tier gear.
It's the power of positive thinking. If you act like you already have the gear, then the monsters are going to act like you already have the gear.
Star Wyvern putting Ratliff to sleep. Swings. That was an interesting decision there, but gets through it.
I had my teeth clenched.
I guess he did get that hand axe. That was probably the difference in that. And now we have dual golem fights between Diabeetus and Mr. Homes. We have ScarletShadoww finding a Stone Man. Gets away from that one. Ratliff dealing with the Star Wyvern again, who is just completely lethal. Swings. Yeah, 10 damage. Okay, maybe this isn't too bad.
Ratliff is absolutely trying to kill me here with these plays. Oh, and now we've got the potential DL2. And there goes our money.
Well, yeah, you still have enough for the silver, I suppose, and maybe you won't need a flame sword. I'd probably be going on my head, but still does not save it. I think I would save it again at this point. Meanwhile, Diabeetus gets through that golem and finds the death necklace and Hawksness.
I would probably, at this point, he explored so much and didn't find a town. I'd probably at this point be thinking, yeah, I could save, but I'm going to get experience before I get there, and do I really want to lose that experience for money, for whatever? The gold grind is easy to set back up if you really need it, because Garrettham's right there, so... And as we all saw, he's not opposed to playing super, super risky anyway, so the lack of a save doesn't particularly surprise me.
Yeah, he might be figuring this might be decisions made upon who his opponent is when you're going up against... DrMisterHomes, the most decorated champion in Dragon Warrior Randomizer history. You might think, I gotta do everything as aggressively as possible to win this.
And you would not be wrong to feel that way either. So that definitely would be a reasonable thing to say, hey, let's take this risk to give me a chance, because playing on I can't play on an even playing field. I certainly know I felt that going up against certain players as well, and you go, if I'm playing against these players, then I am taking this risk, even though it's low, because it's my only chance.
So Ratliff goes through Swamp Cave. I think the only thing we've seen over here is Hawksness. So I'm not sure if he's going to find a town. If he does, it's got to be something we haven't seen yet, which I guess would be Remolder. Yeah, I think at this point, and just pointing out that Holmes has picked up his death necklace after another slog of a fight against that golem. I think we're missing our trading caves and Sharlock and Remolder, and I think that's it.
Beta Strip is saying that we have seen Remolder, and so with that, if that's the case, then we have the overworld spot is going to be one of the Erdrick's item, and the other item is going to have to be in Sharlock.
Yeah, I for one am going to go ahead and vote for Armor in Sharlock, because that's the one that everyone feels the best about. Especially considering we haven't seen Sharlock yet, I think. So it could be in the middle of nowhere, and it could be a long walk there in the first place, which makes that decision to do a preemptive dive a little bit easier, I think.
And it's one of those situations we were just talking about with Ratliff. If I'm going against someone like Holmes or Nest Cardinality, or I am probably I'm hoping for Armor in Sharlock, because that is a chaotic factor you can throw in, especially when Armored Knights have DL2 breath that says, hey, maybe I can get good RNG, and this is a place where I can make up the time that I feel like I'm going to lose going up, just through normal gameplay.
Yeah, so Ratliff followed the dead end the same way that Holmes did, to where there was just nothing, and returned back. So our gold grind report is that he still has enough for a silver. Back to you, Tilo.
I'm impressed, actually, that he has not found Breckenary yet. Like, he's gotten a pretty substantial amount of exploration done, and somehow has managed to miss this town that is that particularly close.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he's going too wide. You know, like I mean, I've done this already in a race too, where I just went way too far to the outside and something was right in one direct line from Tantagel. So I believe I think Diabetes did a deep dive of Grave. I don't know if he got through it or not, but as we know, there wasn't anything super interesting in there.
Yeah, I saw him cross or open the door, but I missed what happened past that. And we have our Jerk Cave sighting by Ratlif. So he continues to make incredible exploration gains without finding anything to take his money, other than a king.
And again, the warp back, he's going to make a note of that. Looks like Shadow's going in for the grind here. I think that's where he was before when he got taken out by a red dragon. Yeah, so I don't know what each player still hasn't found yet, except for Ratlif not being able to find any town to throw his money at, apparently.
I wonder if Shadow is going for a princess rescue, because he's the only one who has the coordinates.
In his scenario, or in his situation, I think I would. And mainly because the way the map is set up, it's a little bit twisty. That was one thing that could have been done on Ratlif's side that I thought about. I don't know if I would have thought about it during a race, but if you haven't seen Cantland and you go through Swamp, I would probably just immediately use Gwaelin's Love to have an idea of where Swamp goes through, just so when I do get the coordinates, if I have to immediately go that way or not.
ScarletShadoww having an absolute nightmare against these green dragons. Can't land a stop spell, getting heal more, getting whatever. Realizes by the time he finally gets this green dragon down, he can't kill another one, so is just going to take a death warp now and then reconvene a second time.
Yeah, it's a heck of a grind. Green dragons always seem to make you think a little bit. Now, there's sometimes where they're the obvious good grind, but there's always something about them that's slightly annoying. And as EMP put it, ho ho ho, green dragon. There, that is my one radio call you're going to get for this announcement, for this stream.
One more than you're probably going to get from me. So, to answer McFruit in chat, yeah, the green dragons have heal more and have not been. By my guess, I would assume they're about 50% to use it. But they have trolled our runners multiple times with that. I know at least once one of our players, after the heal more, threw a hurt at it, then a hurt more, and managed to still not cover the range and got heal more again.
And Ratlif looks completely confused going back into Mountain. I seem to think he's got to go south. Oh, no, he's seen a town. He's seen it. He knows where he's got to go now, and it is Brackenary in the middle of the swamp.
And he's going to be so relieved to finally offload that silver shield money. And then he's going to be thinking, should I be grinding again for a flame sword?
You can get a broadsword. It's only an 8 attack point difference. Yeah, I don't know if you go out of your way for that unless you need it to beat the game.
He did opt not to purchase the broadsword, though, which I think is an interesting decision. I'm not sure what he'd want to save that money for. On top of that, that +5 for a pretty meager price is a reasonable purchase.
Yeah. Meanwhile, ScarletShadoww is going in for the princess now. I don't know if he was doing it before and just had such a rough time with the green dragon, but did decide to do it now. So we probably are going to see a coordinates count after this because I'm not sure what else he's got to do.
Yeah, at this point, I think he's seen literally everything, including Sharlock, and so once this coordinate is counted, he knows what's. Oh no, he hasn't found the trading caves yet, so he'll have to do that as well. Hopefully, though, the count will take him in those directions. That's often what I'm banking on a really big count doing, is taking me to the locations I have not yet found.
Well, he did find what is it? He found the staff trading cave a little while ago. But yeah, the jerk cave I think might be along this way, unless the swamp cave is where you have to go. But I think the swamp cave is actually north of Tantagel, so it's probably not.
Yeah, this map has me really confused. So I don't have any idea where anything is versus anything else.
I think Ratlif has just found that harp trading cave. There we go. So this might be along the way to Cantlin, since ScarletShadoww was the only one who found it. It's probably the only way to go. And Diabeetus did clear a mountain cave, finally got all of his important items, just missing a shield and the Erdrick's gear. And I guess to update, Mr. Holmes has been grinding outside of coal here, but I don't think he's seen mountain yet. And if that's the case, that's kind of the big thing he still needs.
That's a useful thing. Armored Knights have heal, which doesn't sound great, but it does mean that you can hurt more them and then take a wasted turn healing, and the next hurt more is guaranteed to kill them. And so you can get away without taking any damage on the AK-47 fight, which is nice in general, but especially when they have DL2 breath. And there we see it, it's a 75% heal, so that's actually really, really nice. It might make me more inclined to want to fight Armored Knights than run from them.
Right, I will take those in just about every scenario. The one spot where that could be bad is if it's on the grind tile at the end, because you could wind up in kind of a loop, but even then, you're losing a little bit of time, but you're not losing anything, and that's only if the attack power is our lagging stat for that fight. And Ratlif is right outside of Garinham now, I believe. And that means there's only one more town left for him.
Not sure what exactly he's looking for in the shop. He declined to buy the broadsword, and he doesn't have enough money for a full plate. Maybe he's thinking about doing another grind and trying to find out if there's magic armor somewhere so he can do everything in one fell swoop. I'm not sure.
My feeling is always just buy whatever you can when you can. Don't save money, because you never know when it's gonna disappear on you. I mean, he's gonna get a decent amount from this. He will have full plate money if there happens to be one now.
Up2NG does make a good point that Armored Knights actually have so much HP that a hurt more is not guaranteed to put them into heal range like it is for pretty much every other Sherlock monster. So there still is the chance you could get hit even after throwing your hurt more out, even with that 75% heal.
Right, and now we've seen ScarletShadoww at 13 for a little bit. The stats are okay. There's some hit points there. We're not thinking 14 skill level, maybe 15 if you get some serious stat infusion, but the endgame grind could be an interesting decision here, because you have a green dragon who's a little annoying and a golem who is a golem, so usually that's not your first choice either.
We'll see what's on the search tile out here in the overworld, but given those two grinds, that would make me more apt to go ahead and try to die for armor if it's there, and get, experience on the way. Now, their MP isn't very high, so that could be problematic to try, but given the lack of good grind options with low strength, I might be inclined to say, well, I'll probably be able to do reasonably comparable in Sherlock, and can try to snag the armor in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. So, to kind of take the measure of where we are in the races, it looks like Shadow is almost to it's just almost to the coordinate spot, and struggling with the Demon Knight a little bit here. But he has an exploration advantage and an experience advantage over Diabeetus right now. So he's going to need some smart play to keep that going. Especially, again, that endgame grind could mean a lot. Ratlif, however, has found Sherlock, which I don't know if we've seen at all yet. So now we know for sure where it is. It's out in the middle of nowhere.
Sounds like most of the things in this seed so far are just out in the middle of nowhere. Hasn't been a nice cluster on this map.
No. Holmes is taking out a red dragon, though, swinging heavy. Maybe he just figures it's better to do this than not. He has been fairly aggressive fighting overworld enemies. I don't think we've seen him on the green dragon or anything like that. Just been fighting a lot of overworld enemies and being content to just take the experience, and if he gets sent back or has to go heal, he's been doing it.
And DiabeetusThe2nd finally being able to have caves cooperate with him, so he is able to get the gold grind set up. So he's going to grind to, I'm not sure what, but at least to get his silver shield. He may go beyond that to get the, since he already has the half plate, I don't even think we've seen a full plate or a magic armor anywhere, so he'll probably just grind the 25,000 to do the silver shield and the flame sword.
Right, and a question if Ratlif has seen Remolder. I don't even remember seeing Remolder. We just had a report that Shadow has already been there, so maybe Ratlif will see it, because I think he's in an area that only ScarletShadoww has been in so far. And as pointed out in chat, Diabetes did die before full clearing the grave. I think the big question there will be is if he decides to go back. We know it's not worth it, so if he abandons it, it won't be much of a loss. But if he does go back in, that's probably 3 minutes easy, just added on to the seed.
Yeah, I almost will never, depending on what the item is, I almost will never go dive into Sharlock when I have outstanding chests in places I have already found. But given the kind of thing I mentioned earlier about that potentially being your best grind, I might be tempted to go ahead and try that rather than driving grave again, because at least that way I know I'm getting quality experience on my way down, even if I don't succeed.
Yeah, you got to take what you can get when you can get it. And it looks like Ratlif is going back through the same area. Oh no, okay, that isn't the same as the Sharlock area. I thought it was. But he might be running out of real estate here, so unless this is like, no, nothing there. He's going to have to maybe dip into some herbs as he's really running low on resources now. It does appear that ScarletShadoww is retracing the exploration over there in Second Continent, which again I think we only saw Hawksness on. He hasn't killed the Golem, so that is a project. Now he's fighting a regular one on the overworld. He definitely is in a lot better attack power shape than Diabeetus and Mr. Holmes were when they were fighting. And hey, just crit the Golem, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, that puts you in really good shape if you just crit.
Yeah, it's the single best way to get through Dragon Warrior Randomizer. It is the only advice I can give you.
So now that he's seen the one Golem he can take out, ScarletShadoww's like, alright, let's take out the one I know where it is.
So that he's got the armor from the overworld. Maybe he can grind and not need the sword, but I don't know if you're thinking about that yet. If he finds this, I think that's full knowledge. Because I think he saw the Stones Cave too, or maybe he didn't. Has he seen? Because it was past the. No, yeah, he had to because it was past the harp trade-in. Like it was impossible to miss the harp trade-in to find where Stones Cave was. So. It looks like he might come through this for a grind, too. That red dragon probably feels a little bit better than the green dragon did. And level 14 bringing 17014. He's already got enough hit points for this, but you'd like to see a little bit more. Maybe get into that Death Necklace territory again, just in case there comes down a decision about whether to go with the sword or to skip it.
And Diabetes has now acquired his Flame Sword and Silver Shield. He did grind enough money to he could still afford a full plate if he comes across it right now, but obviously has not found one yet, so we'll move on. Meanwhile, Ratliff has finally come across Cantlin, is going to get his coordinates, is going to be very grateful that he rescued the princess, and is probably checking for magic armor yet again. Or maybe full plate even in this situation, since he has the money for it.
Yeah, meanwhile, ScarletShadoww is swinging through the golem, I think, not fluting, which is a little scary, but no, he had plenty of attack power, no problem, and picks up the death necklace. That leaves just that information missing on Ratliff's side now.
I do wonder how close... Oh, never mind. I totally missed ScarletShadoww picking up the armor on the overworld. I was still wondering which Erdrick's item was going to be in Charlock. But I think I figured it out now.
So Diabetes now making down to the Harp trade-in cave. He'll be happy to see that. And also the Stones trade-in. We haven't seen anybody turn in the drop, but we know at least a couple of people have stumbled across the cave. Ratliff getting the coordinates might see an immediate return. Actually, no. Why would we need to do that? We're actually kind of in the area, I think. He might just walk outside and, go call the princess and see where he's at.
Yeah, I would certainly, even with having no idea where I was, first thing I would do is be like, all right, I'm going to go out and find out where I am according to the princess, and then we'll figure it out from there.
And it just feels like Holmes has taken a lot of Destiny Seed. Maybe that's what's got him grinding so much. He's been in this overworld zone a lot of this game, right outside of Cole, gaining experience. He does have an experience lead over his opponent in this race, but the exploration difference is pretty big. Now, almost all of that stuff is Mountain Cave, which he will probably get in 2 minutes whenever he finds it, but he might have missed Mountain Cave's location because it's a little weird. I think it's northeast of Breckenary, which he's been to, but I think it's easy to miss.
It's interesting to me because I know Holmes is kind of on the camp of you can make up your experience after you've done everything and can just grind. Obviously, there is you have to balance that with, hey, I've got to be able to make it around. But seeing him dedicate such an early grind, to me feels not typical for him. But obviously, depending upon what he's seen, he's making can make adjustments on the fly. Obviously, I'm not criticizing anything because Mr. Holmes is Mr. Holmes, and I just assume if I differ from him, he's making the correct decision.
It's also possible that it's really difficult to say what the correct decision is in this randomizer because it's so contextually based. He is in Mountain, though, and like we said, clearing it out very quickly. So the difference between him and Ratliff is going to very quickly be Cantlin versus Hawksness, as Ratliff does pick up his Erdrick's armor. Yes, I don't think Holmes has seen Cantlin, so I think it's just Shadow and Ratliff. So it's big exploration right now for everyone. ScarletShadoww is looking for, I think, both the Rainbow Drop trade-in and Sherlock. I don't think he's seen either of them yet. I don't think Diabetes has seen the Jerk, and he hasn't found Cantlin. Ratliff is looking for Hawksness, which I think he missed when he was on the second continent. And Holmes, I believe, hasn't found the Harp and Stones cave as well as Cantlin. And I could be wrong because it's very difficult to track what people haven't seen in a four-way race.
Yeah, the four-way complicates things a reasonable amount. Especially on a map that's there's a lot of maps that are relatively linear or you have like 2 directions you can go and everything's this way or everything's this way. This just feels it's like it's a really confusing map to me. Maybe that's because I'm watching 4 streams and don't have enough time to really focus on one, or maybe it's just a really weird map, but it just doesn't feel like it's got the linearity that a lot of these maps have had, and that's causing a lot of confusion.
I think, yeah, because Tantagel's location, there seems to be a bunch of different ways to go from it, and there's a lot of big lakes in this. And lakes are usually the enemy of the map maker, because it's once you go around a place and then see you can get to it from another side, it gets very confusing. And if anyone is like me, I'm not exactly the most accurate to scale map maker, and sometimes wind up being completely confused at how these areas connect.
Yeah, that'll be the thing that gets me covering ground I've already covered multiple times, because I'll be like, no, I think this, is it? So I have to keep going and going and going until I finally come the other side and be like, okay, yep, these do join, and can write that off rather than being afraid there's some little passage in between them.
And ScarletShadoww's grinding over here in Hawksness versus the Diabeetus grind there inside of Tantagel. It would be interesting to see if they both keep at this for a while to see which one kind of takes the lead. I would expect the Green Dragon, because Diabeetus is swinging on it, or doing swing hurt more, which is a lot more reliable, except when the hurt more misses, I guess.
Meanwhile, Mr. Holmes finds the staff cave, so he's able to get that, which, as we know, means that the jerk shouldn't be too far away, nor should Sharlock, so he may be finishing his non-Cantlin tasks fairly soon.
And he must have seen stones already if he's bolting north, because that was the only thing that was south of it, which is fine. I mean, now he's checking a forest in between some mountains. Okay. Sorry, I thought that was blocked off, and it didn't make any sense. And to my knowledge, those races there is a plan to do a vodcast of those after this. That is I would put likely at this point. I think it depends on how long this is and how long those are, because if either one or the other goes on for too long, probably not going to have the people do it. And yes, we just continue to wait as we're either grinding or exploring at this point. ScarletShadoww takes that death. We see 15 isn't enough. I think if you're him, you grind to go stats, and then you go. And if you don't have a very good grind and you think you're going to need the sword, you dive and you go get the sword. And if Sharlock proves to be a pain, you grind on the way down for the sword, and you get that next level. If not, you just keep doing, keep going and get it.
Yeah, I tend to be a fan of the dive Sharlock for the sword when you think you're going to need 2 to 3 levels still to go, and you have a red dragon, blue dragon, or golem on the preferred spike tile. So this is a kind of circumstance where if you think you've got quite a few levels to go, which with only with the strength they have, maybe not. I'm not sure, but there is an argument to be made for diving. Because if this goes to 19 and you grab the sword now, you are going to make that dive up. Not to mention, you still get experience on the dive, so it's not like wasted time.
Right, and then we just see ScarletShadoww popped in the coal and searched. I guess he had never found it, which is, again, there's where Mountain Cave is. This is why why some people missed it, the people who were either in coal. And the fact that Holmes hadn't went in there, maybe he was just dying or something in there, because he was right outside of coal so much. It'd feel real weird if he didn't find it. But it looks like ScarletShadoww is going the other way around. Again, he is still missing the Raindrop Cave, which I swear he's seen already. But, and I guess that and Sharlock. I swear ScarletShadoww was the first one to find it, but, that was a long, long time ago.
Yeah, again, just kind of going with the map, with all the lakes and the whatever, usually it's like, okay, well, if this person's seen this, and they had to have crossed this, and they had to have seen that, so you kind of, there's logical progression. But it feels like in this one, there is no logical progression of one location to the next. I felt like the mountain cave was really close to Brecconary, which surprised me that it took so long for people to find, given how quickly Brecconary was found, but I may be wrong on that too, and then, yeah, the maps just got me so confused that it's hard to kind of keep that logical progression in my head at all.
Yeah, speaking in chat, the one thing Ratliff does not have is Hawksness. He hasn't actually cleared it. He hasn't found it, but now he is finding it, and he'll probably get through this golem fairly readily and then find the Death Necklace, and then know he has no other option but Grind or Sharlock. But it looks like, I guess Shadow must not have cleared Deep Grave because he's going back in. This is not going to help him at all, unfortunately, because we know there's nothing down here. I just keep an eye on that experience difference between Diabeetus and ScarletShadoww, because that's probably the biggest difference. Even the fact that he hasn't, Diabeetus hasn't found Cantlin to get the armor yet. As long as he's 3,000 experience behind, he's not going to have a... Like, he needs to catch that up while he's doing the other things, and maybe this Grave Dive will help with that.
It is one of those where you have these non-ideal grinds does help when someone's going on a dedicated grind while somebody else is still doing an overworld exploration. Having non-ideal grinds is a benefit to the one who's still doing the exploration, so that could at least mitigate some of the disadvantage that Diabeetus still has to overcome.
And Mr. Holmes finding Cantlin, he's going to get those coordinates. He has not rescued the princess. He is the sort of person that, I don't know, he might, because I don't think it's very hard to get to, like Swamp being where it is. But he might try to count this one too. And I mentioned before that this has been the one thing that I think sometimes has tripped up Mr. Holmes a bit, is trying to force long counts. But that's what he's doing right now.
I'm wondering if this is one of those where since we're in a world with so many lakes, maybe it makes sense to say, hey, I probably have a clear shot, more or less. And I wonder if he's just doing single coordinate counting, assuming 81 West is going to be near the coast, and so he's just trying to get his north-south correct. Well, it seems like he's counting pretty deliberately in both directions, though, so we'll see.
The old 1-2, 1-2 of the deliberate coordinate count is very obvious to anyone who's played this quite a bit. Ratliff now has cleared the golem, has got his Death Necklace. We'll see what he does now, because he does have access to Sharlock. He has seen it. I don't know if anyone else has actually seen Sharlock except for him. He found it on the way to Cantlin, so it's quite possible that could have been a thing.
Yeah, he's at least opting to utilize to use up all his resources here on the golem before he moves on to whatever his next decision is going to be.
So Shadow clears Grave, warps out. It looks like that experience, maybe Diabeetus gained about 400 experience on, and that's not really a whole lot to count, but I guess every little bit helps at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately for Diabeetus, there were some pretty nice Sharlock monsters in the grave, so ScarletShadoww was still able to get some good experience while doing the grind, or doing the dive.
It's also fun when you see people counting when they go over Swamp, Sans Armor, or Mountains. They tend to be a little bit more aggressive. Those are actually very useful when you're doing counts, because you don't need to slow down. It's really easy to lose track of how many steps you're taking normally, but when the screen's flashing at you, or when the game is making you pause for a fraction of a second every step you take, it really helps with the count.
Yeah, I'm always disappointed to find out that I've got to cross a bunch of swamp for a count, and I do have Erdrick's armor. I'm like, oh man, I'm going to have to walk slower now.
So Diabeetus is again going. No, he's going to Tablet. I think. Did he just find Grinham for the first time? I guess we kind of forgot about that one too.
Now, is this up through these mountains up here to the north? Is that where Sharlock is? Are we going to see a swamp a bit? No. Not sure exactly where Ratlif is heading at the moment. I feel like he's seen everything, so I'm not sure what he's... he seems to be a little bit lost, but... I don't know, maybe he was looking for something, or maybe there is something that I've forgotten at this point.
Search spot is way out in the middle of nowhere. That's probably the best way to describe it. And speaking of that, ScarletShadoww has found his way to Sharlock, so that's some good info.
Holmes is getting pretty close based upon what I recall from seeing Ratlif. It's actually really close to that west coast, if I recall correctly, but it's up in this little, like, peninsula that juts off to the northwest.
Yeah, this feels like he's more or less got it. It's just going to be if he's slightly off, if he's able to do the search in the right way. But, I mean, that's always kind of a question. So, Diabeetus also finding Remolder, which had nothing, and I don't think Remolder had much of anything total.
Yeah, that shop was absolutely disappointing as well.
And it looks like he's a little concerned about his keys. He did just do a deep dive of Grave not too long ago. And it's not the best key shop to go to, but you might as well get him back when you can. And yeah, he is very close. I believe it's just about, he's like 2 spots too far to the right, I think. And he's casting Return. He gave up. He was close. If he would have continued searching in the area, he might have got it, but I think we might actually see a Princess Rescue on his side. We'll see. He might just be willing, no matter what, to count out these coordinates. I know some people are like that.
I would be surprised to see him do it a second time, just because I feel like if he was going to do it a second time, then he would have just kept searching squares around the area he was at, because otherwise, to go turn all the way back and redo the count only to find, hey, I was off by 2, feels like kind of overkill. So the first thing I would want to do is like search a 2x2 square over where I thought it was, around where I thought it was, before I'd consider trying to count this over again.
It wouldn't have been quick because I think he was off something like, I think when he actually searched, he needed to go north 2 or 3 and west 2 or 3 or something like that. But if he would have kept at it, he would have eventually found it. But I mean, I don't know. Once you start failing like your 3rd or 4th search, your head just starts exploding, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's failing a count. It may be one of the things to this day that actually will mess with me the most in terms of mid-seed stuff. Kind of put you on tilt or whatever, being like, oh my goodness gracious, I can't count numbers, and now all of a sudden that's going to cost me a race, and it just kind of puts you in a weird headspace sometimes. I've become more prone to get the princess nowadays for exactly that reason.
So it appears that what Ratlif was searching for was an overworld grind zone. He must have been so dissatisfied between the golem and that kind of quirky green dragon that he decided to bolt and go this way. But interesting, you don't see people grind in forest super often, at least this late in the game.
Yeah, I don't know how close Hawksness was to literally anything else, but we at least knew there were desert tiles and Hawksness that had the red dragons in them. I don't know if he's grinding here because it's close to a town and he can get quick resource refills, but if I'm going to grind on forest tiles, then I'm going to strive Sharlock, because the brick tiles in Sharlock are the same encounter rate as the forest tiles. And if you're going to do that anyway, you might as well be trying to get a sword a sword out of it.
Yeah, I would say by my default, without anything else coming to play, I usually do first floor Sharlock as my 3rd resource, resource. Unless there's a really good desert grind zone somewhere, I hit the spikes, and if I can't do that, we go into Sharlock. And I mean, he could do it while going for the sword, and it wouldn't take that much time difference, really.
And now Holmes has rescued the princess. I'm kind of surprised he doesn't do this more, just so you can get the princess riding Yoshi sprite going on, which is absolutely wonderful. But the princess will not be riding Yoshi for very long, as he will be dropping her off very soon.
Right, so Holmes is still catching up quite a bit to Ratliff in exploration, but the experience gap is not super large. Ratliff is kind of on the dedicated grind now, though, so it wouldn't be surprised to see that grow. Meanwhile, ScarletShadoww is kind of doing the same thing, just grinding levels. We saw level 16 pop up. It had some stats in some places, but it still is maybe in one level you can get enough to go, but the strength is just so low right now.
ScarletShadoww looks like he's going to opt to go back to Hawksness and grind the up past level 16 to level 17.
Yeah, I don't know if I feel like this is necessarily better than the Green Dragon, but the Green Dragon is a bit annoying, having to swing and hurt more to do the thing, and this is a generally dumb enemy, has no ability, so it's at least simpler, so it feels better fighting it.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at the Green Dragon at this point, you're taking 2 to 3 turns to kill one Green Dragon to deal with the heal more. So you're at minimum swing and hurt mooring, and so now you're taking 2 turns to kill the Green Dragon. You know, how many swings are you taking to kill the Golem here? 5, 6, plus you got heal mores. So, you know, it's maybe the battle takes 2.5 to 3 times as long for, 2.5 times more experience. It really is a tight decision between the two. I tend to, in general, favor Red Dragon and Golem grinds when I can get them, but that is heavily caveated on my attack power, and at 106 attack power, if I had 116 attack power and something else was trailing, then I would be taking this Golem, no question, but the 106 just, it makes it feel bad.
There is possibly another advantage to maybe doing something in Sharlock and instead of either of these grinds, and that would be seeing Ratliff might be going in there right now. The advantage is if there is a town somewhat nearby, you can just warp out. But this looks like either a grind or a grind and dive. He's not fully statted out for this, so he's also appears to be 2 levels, or at least 1 full level behind. So I guess we'll see. Right now there is a 1,600 point difference between Ratliff and ScarletShadoww, who are not in the same race, even though they are doing the same seed. So it doesn't really matter, but for our own curiosity, I suppose we can measure it.
Now, interestingly, while ScarletShadoww is just going ham on these golems, Holmes has decided that Fairy Flute strats are the way to go with it. And Fairy Flute strats, in general, I feel like are slower than non-Fairy Flute strats. You get a couple swings that do a heal more, but Fairy Flute strats do allow you to use less resources. And so, if there was a situation like I were in ScarletShadoww's shoes and I had 3 more golems to go rather than just this one, then I would be apt to use the flute just to see if I could stretch this MP enough to get me to the next level.
Right, and I think he gave up on that flute anyway. I thought maybe he was preserving resources in case the walk to the armor was a little tricky. But we see ScarletShadoww picking up level 17. I think that's go mode. I think that is doable.
Oh, I am looking at attack power and not thinking of adding the 12 to it for Erdrick's sword. I'm going, in what world is 115 attack power doable? But now it makes sense.
Yeah, maybe you pick up some Fairy Waters to augment that, but 127 attack power. That's what, about 16 rounds on average. You got 14 heal mores. Your trusting Sherlock isn't too bad. I don't think you're going to get a lot of doubles, but you have the defense. When the defense is above 92, that's where you feel like doubles are. You feel a little bit more comfortable just getting the doubles. It's I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that is always in my head where if I don't have that, I don't feel comfortable. But some Fairy Water, this is probably doable.
Yeah, definitely. Without Fairy Water, it becomes a little more iffy. But when you add the Fairy Water to it, you go from needing 17 swings to maybe needing 16 or 15 total turns, and so that adds up. And with 14 heal mores, you could do it as long as you don't lose a whole lot of resources. I wouldn't say they have like heal mores to burn in this situation, but maybe you could probably burn one and be okay. A second one would put you in some dire straits. But I would definitely give it a shot, especially if you haven't seen what Sherlock has to offer yet. The worst thing I think you'll see is Star Wyverns and Armored Knights, and for all you know, those might not even be there, and it would be sad to push on another grind, grind another level just to find out there was no point in it. And which is another reason that diving Sherlock early has value, is because it can tell you whether or not you need to grind that extra level before you have to abort your grind.
And watching Ratlif do this grind, have we seen him fight any Reds? I don't think we have. Of course, this is knowledge that doesn't help ScarletShadoww at all, who's just getting completely griefed by every AK-47 along the way. But and he's bypassed. Yeah, Cantlin must be the closest town to Sherlock, which Diabeetus has found. He's healing up. He does not have the princess, so I think he's got a little bit of business to do here yet. And we'll probably see him warp back and maybe grab that. I don't know. It's possible he did a count to here, but I don't know if anyone ever does a preemptive count. Seems like too much work.
Yeah, preemptive counting has incredibly limited utility, and really, in my opinion, the only thing I've ever done preemptive counting for is a coast if I start near one, so that I can do reverse counting later.
And Shadow is selling stuff. Looks like he is loading up on the Fairy Waters here in Cantlin, or will be here in just a moment. Buying one torch. So yeah, the way the MP is, I think you want to save that 2 MP. Be willing to lose one Fairy Water. The Fairy Water is not going to help a ton in the fight, but you grab 4 of them, that's going to save you a round and a half, and that's probably, that's 1 extra heal more, and that may be enough to compensate beyond that. And Ratlif in a very dangerous position here, unable to do anything against the blue dragon, swings, it casts heal. He is so close to the items down here. Herbing up, going to try to herb out the blue dragon's damage, which is possible at his defense level. But now the blue dragon casting heal, he swings. This is just a very interesting fight. And he takes it down.
Ratlif again, just showing strats of willingness to do things that just make me clench my teeth, going, I can't believe he's trying this. But hey, it worked out for him. He's got a silver shield. He's got a terrific sword. He's got a lot of guts.
There we go. He's got 1,000 experience to go level. Meanwhile, ScarletShadoww is in Sherlock. This is a dive to win. We'll see. Again, Ratlif lost a lot of resources on the way down, but he was fighting everything. And ScarletShadoww is going to have some particular reason to try to dodge enemies. I don't know. If I'm him, I might consider blowing these Fairy Waters just to avoid potential Star Wyverns, but maybe you wait till you see one at first, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think that's a tough one. With 3 MP to spare, I might be apt to throw a single repel out as soon as I hit zone 3, maybe, just to make sure that something that late in the dive doesn't get me. But yeah, it's I think you want to play. I think playing on Let's Wait Till I See a Star Wyvern also makes a lot of sense.
And we did see we see the AK-47s here in Zone 2 and 3. Again, ScarletShadoww already had his fun time dealing with those already, so hopefully for his sake he's able to just keep dodging them.
Now, it is worth noting, with how close Ratlif and Holmes are on experience, that Holmes is running a strength agility build. So, if armor, with armor knights being so prevalent, that is for my previous number crunching, a agility build is worth about 1 extra run success in the Charlock dive, and that may be relevant against those armored knights. Being able to get away from that little extra bit could end up paying off.
And as we're talking about this, ScarletShadoww has made his way into the basement. Armored Knight, but just a few steps away from that sword if he can manage to avoid this. Do we see what the Armored Knight's heal and DL2 breath rates were?
I think it was 75% heal and 25% DL2. Yeah.
Thank you again, trackers. I know you showed that earlier and I forgot. So the DL2 breath isn't exactly common, which is nice, but still has to get away from him. And meanwhile, Ratlif on that green dragon grind. Once he hits level 17, I think we'll see him go. It's a little bit rough, but it's not. I think any experienced player is going to know well enough that you have to go. And he has already seen Charlock, so he has that information that it's not perfect, but it's not terribly difficult.
And while he's doing that, Holmes is actually diving the grave to try to see if he can find the sword there. We know he won't, but we also know there's decent Charlock monsters in here. With the experience so close, this could be a tight one. I don't know if Holmes has actually seen Charlock, though, or not.
Yeah, it's a weird direction from Cantlin, so we know Ratlif's been there, obviously, since he already got the sword. He's going to continue fighting. So looks like he wants another level. This is actually something that could open up a difference between here, and it is not really, now that I think about it, not surprising. Ratlif has actually went above Go level, I think, in every race that he has done so far this tournament. Meanwhile, ScarletShadoww hitting that spike, seeing a red dragon. That's not the worst thing you could have seen there, obviously. Well, I guess you can't see Star Wyverns on spike tiles, but takes it out and looks like, assuming these last few steps will go well, might be at full resources for this fight.
Yeah, not full resources. He's a pretty substantial favorite. I mean, just swinging alone, he's at like 80% to win, and then when you add the fairy waters in there, it's even higher than that. So he's a pretty substantial favorite.
So we'll see if he decides to herb up or if he just swings. Looks like he's just swinging. He's that's confidence when you're not even bothering healing to try to sneak out that extra first round attack, and he does not get back attack, so gets one free one in, and the Dragon Lord decides to do him a favor by just about min rolling there. So he gets an opening double. Rolls are not great. He's rolling 6 to 13, so anything in double digits is wonderful.
I think we're at 26 at this point.
And there we go. There's the introduction of the fairy water into this fight. A full max roll. Wonderful.
So that takes us to 42. $54 and another double.
That silver shield is doing its work.
61. Min roll for 70. 83, and now he's out of Fairy Waters, and we're going to have to go for swing strats from here on out. I think I was just at 83 a second ago. That's what I'm going to start counting at unless I'm told otherwise. 95.
Nice 12, nice double-digit hit. Again, that's all he's going to be hoping for here.
105. Just absolutely brilliant shape at this point. 116, phenomenal rolls.
Not guaranteed, but very close.
And another one to get up to 129. $139. All these double digits are just, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, sometimes the Dragon Lord really does you wrong, but right now Scarlet is really getting the good rolls. He didn't necessarily need to have a lot of good rolls, but he's getting them.
He's at 150 right now, so this next swing could do it. 160. So the Dragon Lord rolled really high here, so those rolls came in handy. Obviously, still with plenty to spare, but this next swing will be a guaranteed kill, assuming I did my math correct. That took us from 160 to 173. Everybody get your GGs out for ScarletShadoww, who will be winning the race against DiabeetusThe2nd.
Yeah, started out the seed just with the right decisions there. Got through, got to hurt more first, and really just kind of accelerated from there. Had some issues exploring, but everyone did. This was not an easy map for exploration. But that will put him at 4-1 and in the driver's seat to qualify for brackets and possibly still a chance to win his group.
The official final time is 1 hour, 35 minutes, and 51 seconds.
And so we'll see if he joins us here in just a little bit. Meanwhile, our bottom race, both Ratliff and DrMisterHomes are dissatisfied with level 17. It looks like Ratliff is, he died, he ran out of resources, and I think he is going to try to get the next level on the way down. He's stopping at Breckenary, though. I think he's thinking the same thing about Fairy Waters, maybe. Although Cantlin might be a better town. Yeah, there's a little bit of indecision here, I think. But maybe he doesn't remember that Cantlin's the closest and might try to walk directly from here.
So hard to say what's the closest in this particular map.
He just sold an herb. I think that was an accident. And with the defense breaking the Green Dragon, Holmes isn't even bothering to heal at 16 hit points. This Green Dragon's barely a threat. It can kill him in 2 hits, but it has to actually hit him twice.
While I am kind of surprised that neither Ratliff nor Holmes opted to go at 17, Holmes is a little less surprising because of the strength agility build. His hit points are a little bit lower, and even though the defense is just off the charts right now, you still, because of the fire breaths, could put yourself in a situation where you need double heals with 101 HP. And so going the next level does make a little more sense for him, or at least the risks are a little bit higher for him to go at that point.
Well, neither of them have hit level 18 yet, although I think Ratliff's going to, they're both just hoping to get it probably on the way down. But while they're doing that, I believe we have ScarletShadoww with us in chat. Let us know if you're here. If you can hear us.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can. GG on a very well-run race. What's your first thoughts after winning this?
I'm trying to get the adrenaline to go down from that Dragon Lord fight. That's my first thought at the moment. In a minute, I might have something else.
Yeah, that was we both thought. I think Tilo and I were like, level 17 had to be go level. We've actually seen on Ratliff and DrMisterHomes side they're delaying a little bit, but Fairwater seemed to do it. Rolls were pretty good, weren't they?
Yeah, I thought they were okay. I mean, I'm racing DB2. He's really, really good. I got close enough where Fairy Water was in play, so I decided I have to go now. That was kind of the reason. Overall, I thought the seed went pretty well. I thought I got a pretty good start with some good Hurtmores, and I thought I did things in the right order-ish. Probably wanted to go through Swamp Cave a little sooner, but it turns out there was nothing but Charlock stuff over there anyway, so ended up working out okay.
And, just as a sidetrack, we did see level 18 pop up on Ratliff's side, but I missed what the bonuses were. I think he decided he was going either way, but... okay,
that is a lot of green.
Yeah, that is an overwhelming go level. So once Holmes gets that, we could be in for just a straight charge down to the end. But, yeah, what you were saying, ScarletShadoww, I think your decision, you were very heavy on the grind right off the bat, and I think that helped you open up a lead. Was that something that was directly in your mind? Were you weighing grinding versus exploration, or did you just decide I need to get these levels as quickly as possible?
Well, as soon as I got Hurtmore, I ventured to the east, and as soon as I found Hurtmoreable enemies, I decided that I was going to keep going that way until I either cleared the cave that was over there or until I hit a lot more levels. I made the decision that if I got Sword early or Hurtmore early, that I wasn't going to explore, I was going to grind a little first, at least until I was viable.
And that did seem to pay off for you. I think at one point you had close to 1,000 experience point lead when you were still in the 1,000s for experience. Definitely got through those red slimes before our other players. I think both Ratliff and Diabeetus actually chose to abandon the key to try to take out things because they were struggling so much.
I think I hit one red slime for 3, and I think I died to maybe 2 or 3 of them before I got through it. As soon as I knew I could hit him for 3, I decided to just keep plugging away until I got the level. And then after that, things kind of went downhill.
Yeah, so what was your general feelings about the map, too? This was one where I think both Tilo and I were like, where are things? Because we couldn't figure it out. It just seemed like everything was sprawling all over the place.
There's definitely things spread out to every corner, which I thought was quite fun. I enjoy maps that make you work for it, so I was quite happy with it. I was very happy when I saw Breckenary down at the bottom of the screen at that point, though, because even though I ended up diving mountain and dying standing on the last chest the first time through, I knew if there was something good there, that I would be able to get a decent grind. And turns out the Flame Sword and the Silver Shield were enough to hold me over for quite a while.
Yeah, that grind wound up being pretty prescient, even though there wasn't much you could do about the armor anyway. Just the fact that that was the thing that you got, and the sword, getting that flame sword early made, I think, the grinding kind of excel for you. I would say, I think both Diabeetus and Mr. Holmes did the same grind eventually. I think Holmes was doing it the exact same time as you, but just had a little bit worse luck getting there, had to reset a couple of times. But Ratliff wasn't able to do that, and because he had a weaker weapon, had to avoid the golem grind. Was that something? Did you just not want to deal with the green dragon? There was the golem, something that just felt really good to you?
I don't know, man. I love golem grinds. If I find a golem on a spike tile that doesn't have something silly like DL2 Breath or Sleep, I almost always gravitate towards it, especially if I have a decent weapon. I just feel like the time spent there is better. I'd rather just swing and heal more than deal with trying to swing hurt more on a green dragon. Dealing with resistance, dealing with 3 kills to equal 1 kill of a golem for experience. I just feel like it's faster.
That's interesting. I have my own sort of rankings in my head, and I know some people kind of disagree on them. I don't mind golem grinds, in the same scenario you did. I think there was some controversy about it just because the green dragon didn't seem that bad, but it's also, 1 golem per 2 green dragons for your experience, I suppose. And there were the red dragons there too, which weren't bad.
Yep, taking a step off the grind tile right to a red dragon, stepping back right to a golem to finish out. Felt pretty good.
So meanwhile, in our race, Ratliff has cleared that red dragon spike, going directly into the Dragon Lord, not thinking about healing, anything like that. I guess he doesn't need to. but just going in hard. He's got overwhelming stats. Level 18 has made this fight completely ridiculous, especially he can equip the Death Necklace. Now 145 AP probably kind of pales to the 127 that you had to deal with, but like I said, I think level 17, you hadn't seen Sharlock yet, but it wound up not being too bad.
Did somebody go in before I did? On like a sword grind or a sword dive?
Yeah, Ratliff went in and kind of did a sword dive and grind, and actually got almost taken out by a blue dragon. I think he ended with like 21 hit points or something and no resources left. It was real scary. So I think we're going to kind of pause and switch over now to the race here at the bottom. Ratliff on the Dragon Lord. Again, he has a much higher damage range, so seeing 11 for him is not a good roll, not something that you want to see. I think that's his minimum. And then a 12. Yeah, Dragons, the problem with a ton of AP is that the range is so big that you can really get nerfed on the attacks. But there's an 18. That's more average. Yeah, if chat is any indicator, he's still well in control of this. Meanwhile, Holmes getting to the spike himself. And Diabetus, I believe he has got... Yeah, he just picked up the armor. So at this point, I think he's walking over to the Sharlock area to go finish this up, although he's got a bit of a walk to get there. Or maybe he doesn't. I forgot Cantlin's actually pretty close. And Ratliff, again, another pretty strong fire breath, but look at all the MP left. GG's to Ratliff in the chat. Just completely smoked the Dragon Lord here at 18, casting the return. He took that extra level, which, that was definitely a nice comfort level. And he may or may not have needed it. We don't know. But the fact that he did it didn't matter because still finished ahead of his opponent and wins the race. And that is a final time of 1 hour, 46 minutes, and 44 seconds.
And that puts Holmes in the very enviable position of being on the Dragon Lord fight and losing, which is it just hurts.
Yeah, once you get here, you try to stop looking at chat, I think. You're like, no, I don't want to see anything. I don't want to be spoiled. But right when you start it, you look over, and then that's the thing. Like, just immediately, like, oh, no. Okay. But he's very gracious. I think he already sent out GGs to Ratliff in the race room. So as we wait for Ratliff to potentially join us, ScarletShadoww, what was the thing that really kind of held you back search-wise? I'm trying to remember, but with 4 people, it kind of got blurry. Everybody was missing something at some point.
The last thing I found was the Jerk Cave. I wasn't sure where it was. I looked around all 4, and I went to all corners of the map. I knew the upper left, where I got bounced by a red dragon, might have it. But I didn't want to go there because it seemed like I didn't have much space left. So of course I explored everywhere else and full cleared the map, and that was the last place to go. Plus I knew I had Grave to dive at some point, just to make sure the sword wasn't there, and the last race that I ran I lost because I didn't dive Grave. And so I had literally in like all capital letters on my note sheet, dive the Grave, from pretty much 20 minutes into the race.
Oh, that is a good point. And I would mention ScarletShadoww. I think that your audio is coming through on the mic, the end credits. But meanwhile, Mr. Holmes has finished off the Dragon Lord, has proceeded to try to hurt more of the guards of Tan Tegel. Tried to take that guard. That didn't work. It's having some fun with it. This guard also getting hurt more. There will be nobody left in Tantagel when he is done. There are 6 more guards to go. This one, the backstab hurt more. This one only gets a regular hurt. He went a little soft on that one. And try to sleep this guard. Nothing's working.
Oh, what a nice thing. He got to heal that one.
I think he attempted to heal it and then just healed himself and just smirked at it. And there we go. GG's to Mr. Holmes with a finish here with a final time of 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 39 seconds. And that leaves our sole focus now onto DiabeetusThe2nd, who is in his Sharlock dive, going in earnest for the sword and for the win. So I think we will be getting at least Ratliff in, maybe getting Mr. Holmes here in a moment. So ScarletShadoww, do you have any final thoughts about this seed? Or you have 1 race left, correct?
Yes, I have 1 race against Jay Coper. I think it's going to be next Thursday is what we've panned out tonight.
Nice. And I think the group possible buy is still open to you, but you still also have to qualify for brackets. There's just so much uncertainty. Are you feeling any pressure?
To get a buy? No. To qualify for brackets? I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a fun race either way. I've watched Jay Coper do a couple of his races already. He's been really good. So just have to go in, do my best, and see what happens. If I don't make it, I still ended up getting 4 wins in group, which is, you know, for me, that's a pretty good accomplishment. I'll take it.
And we have Ratliff and Mr. Holmes here with us. GG to both of you.
Hello, friend Bean.
GG.
Well, I died a lot. That was spectacular.
Yeah, I wonder, did I get off to a good lead or something? I took a risk sacrificing the key, so I think that worked pretty decent.
Yeah, it would have, because it took me like 8 minutes to get the first level because I kept getting fire breath by red slimes. That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was part of my game plan to do some risk, so I thought that was like a reasonable thing to try out, and was lucky with the hurt more.
Seems reasonable to me.
Then I think I was pretty inefficient at the end of the game, so...
I wouldn't be surprised. Did you go on 17 or 18?
I went on the level that was like easy win.
Okay, so, yeah, so that's the one I went on too, so...
Yeah, my end game was pretty bad, I would say, but I think the start was what won, I guess.
I was hoping I would get 1 more agility point to be able to defense break blue dragons, and then that level had 0 agility, and then I saw like 5 blue dragons in Sharlock, so I was shaking my fist repeatedly at the screen.
Yeah, I actually did a dive earlier and got the sword. It didn't make a lot of sense, but I had a hand axe, and I didn't feel like I had a good grind. Yeah, I was not happy with the end, but I felt like I had a chance just due to like the start with the Hurtmore and Fairy Waters and quick level.
Yeah, that probably made a pretty big difference, I bet.
Seems like me and you are just talking to each other right now.
Yeah, that's us. Commentators here are they're just absolute trash. Kidding.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I know you're upset about red slimes, so I get it.
Oh, I'm not that upset.
But
I've seen way worse, we'll say that, but there weren't a ton of things other than early Hurtmore that are nice to say about that seed. That was gross.
The thing that kind of kept messing with Aaron and I was just the map. It was so hard to figure out what was where and how to get from one place to another. It was one of the more interesting maps we've seen in a while.
Yeah, it was a solid donut, and then in the middle of it, and then you try and get to Charlock, and you're south of Garenhouse, like, nope, dead end. Move a little bit west and go south, nope, dead end, and you have to go all the way around. And good grief. I didn't find it till I didn't find the path. I knew where it had to be, but I didn't actually traverse the path until the very end.
So I do have a question for you, Holmes. What led to your decision to attempt to count the coordinates rather than rescue the princess for that first try?
Usually I'm pretty good at it. For whatever reason, I just brain cramped, and I had a rough idea of the coordinates. So like I kind of lost my count right around Cantlin, and then I went north, and I had thought that the coordinates were somehow above me near where the jerk cave was. And so I was like, oh crap. And so I just kind of gave up and didn't even try searching because I kind of panicked. And then I went to the jerk and I'm like, wait, that's not going to work either. So then I had to go get the princess and go all the way back. But I mean, this seed was definitely one that had the capability to make you fluster. Like there was no matter what you tried to do, there was always some impediment standing in your way with the overworld.
Yeah, and we saw that to varying degrees with everybody, depending on what luck they were able to get and what places they were able to find. I wanted to ask you, Ratliff, you did a gold grind up to 33,000 without having found anything that you could purchase. And we were kind of marveling at you standing around with stacks of gold and grinding and whatever for a good, 15 minutes before you were able to offload that. What were you feeling while you were under the weight of all that gold?
Yeah, I was feeling on the gold, it's going to turn into a liability or something, trying to preserve it too much. Mostly I cared about keeping enough for the silver shield, I'd say. Let's see, I felt like I had pretty good survivability, but it was a dangerous move because the map was pretty dangerous enemies and hit points weren't that high. So it maybe, let me think about that. Maybe I should have just held off on the gold grind or something because Graves so close. Yeah, I could have. That might have been better than what I did. So my overall mindset was just like I'm kind of taking risks in this race, because I knew I wasn't as I was a weaker player, so that was another risk.
Well, it seems perfectly reasonable to me. Like you said, you still would have enough even if you died to get a silver shield, and you could just save it after you died if you really wanted to. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what happened. Is he died and then was able to carry that extra 15,000 around for a long time till he found Breckenary.
Yeah, if I would have found a town with the flame sword and silver shields, it would have been really helpful. I would have chosen the golem grind in Hawk's Nest instead of the kind of horrible way I finished the seed, gaining levels, and so that would have been good.
Well, knowing where Breckenary wasn't necessarily a good thing. I tried to get there 4 or 5 times with my gold grind, and I kept getting sent back by Star Wyverns, putting me to sleep. So, like I said, there was just no free lunch in this at all.
Yeah, now that I look at my map, I found coal really fast, and Breckenary was not that far to the west, really. Though it was like you guys said, very disjointed map.
Well, yeah, so that was one way to get to Breckenary. I found it by going west of Start and then south, and there's a tiny narrow land bridge to get to Breckenary. Breckenary was the first town that I found.
I'm going to interrupt you for just a second to say your GGs for DiabeetusThe2nd, who has finished his seed as well, taking on the Dragon Lord at level 18. And finished with a time of 1 hour, 58 minutes, and 23 seconds.
So is that the last finisher?
That is the last finisher.
Okay, good. Cool. Well, I mean, I think I've said my piece. Made a couple silly things, but it was a hard seed, so I'm not going to stress too much over it. Just makes things more interesting later on.
Yeah, 25 deaths. I wonder how many I had.
I think it was 17. I don't know.
Oh,
The Dragon Lord's fat butt's in the way, but look at that max hit points.
26 deaths to be precise over here. Yeah, like there were at least 2, if not 3 times, especially early on, where I had an armored knight on the brink of death and I failed to hurt more. That was just crushing to me, honestly. I guess that's the last thing I can say. Missing hurt mores on Star Wyverns and getting put to sleep, just
And we do have DiabeetusThe2nd has joined us in chat as well. GG Diabetes.
Appreciate it. Thanks. GG to ScarletShadoww as well, and everyone else, apparently.
Thanks, GG.
GG.
So what were your thoughts on that seed other than, hey, things stop killing me?
That was probably the big thing, and then I think most importantly of all, as it was probably evident, especially toward the end there, the map won this one for me. I think Charlotte was on probably the last 50 square tiles of the entire 120 by 120 that I didn't check yet. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, you definitely had the most unfortunate, beyond the map, you also had the most unfortunate encounter luck of anybody. You can see that your 37 deaths are dwarf everybody else's death totals. It was rough. Even when you went the right way, other things said no.
Yeah, more or less. I think I counted 7 overworld zones that had red dragons, another 4 or 5 that had armored knights, and then of course the red dragons that were in swamp, plus mountain cave, the armored knights that were in bottom of the grave, and then the sleepy dragon lord breath Star Wyverns as well. And there were several instances where I got, ambush, slept and wrecked, ambush, Dragonlord breathed, ambush, you name it. It was a rough go. A couple of exact lethals. I think I tried to take out the golem pretty early and got exacted at 45 or something. And there's just a lot of that going on throughout this one. And to be fair, anytime you look at the death counter and say, oh, they must have gotten bad luck, some of it too does rest on, decisions to go and explore at certain junctures versus grind or something like that. It's like, yeah, if you're out there walking at 30 agility, I mean, that's on you to some degree. But I felt like I was decent enough that I should have been able to have at least acceptable run rates with agility in the 50s. It just didn't happen. 40 ambushes, that's a lot.
That is a lot indeed. So we are going to have a vodcast coming up after this as with the other 4 racers that raced at 10 o'clock. And that will be coming up shortly after this, so stick around for that. They did race a different seed. That is a very important thing to point out, as Brian did in chat. But they did race at the same time, which is why we didn't bring them to you live as well. They will be coming up after this, and like I said, so stay tuned. Before we sign off, do any of you have any final words?
Well, I just wanted to mention I thought this was an extremely good race. A lot of the separation, it wasn't everything, but a lot of it was those very early decisions, I think, impacted a lot of stuff. But it was great to watch everyone kind of deal with the map, as it were, and how I think at like an hour, 20 minutes, I tried to describe everything that everyone was missing, and it was something different.
Thank you, as always, to the commentators, trackers, restreamers, and everybody else who works behind the scenes to put this on for us for the entire tournament. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Well, thank you, and it is our pleasure, as I know many of you are doing the same thing for us in our races too. I believe we are going to go down here, and just for a little bit, I think our restreamer needs some time to gather up everything. So don't bother leaving the channel. We're going to stay here, so you should stay here too, and get ready for, if I recall right, it was Smashy and Niminva, and also the Seawolf versus Gigalus coming up in 10 to 15 minutes. But on behalf of our team, Betastrap and Venicus Tracking, Tilo, and myself here on comms, and Brian Williams there doing our restream once again, just like to thank everyone for watching, and stay tuned.